Hare. Hare Krishna. So today is the appearance day of Srila Ramacharya. So today we'll be speaking on Sri Ramacharya, and we'll have the bhajan Ohe Vaishnav Thakur. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Dayara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori. Diya pada chaya shodohe amaya तुम्हारा चरण धोरी. छाया बेगादोमी छाया दोषा शोदी छाया गुना देहो दासे. छाया सत्संगा देहो है आमारे बोशिशी संगेरा आशे. एकाकी आमारा नाही पाया बला हरिनाम संकीर्तने. तुम्ही कृपा कोरी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देहो कृष्णा नाम धाने. कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्णा दीते पारो तुम्हारा शक्ति आछे. आमी तू कंगाला कृष्णा कृष्णा बोली धैतवा पाछे पाछे. ओहे वैष्णव ठाकुरा दयर सागर एदासे करुणा कोरी. वैष्णव ठाकुर की जय, श्रील रामाचार्य की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. O Venerable Vaishnav, devotee of Krishna, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful unto your servant. You all, everyone can read together. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet. Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults, bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association. I do not find the strength to carry alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll be discussing about the life of Srila Ramanujacharya. So, Srila Ramanujacharya, Hare Krishna. Okay, so Srila Ramanujacharya, he's considered as the main Acharya in the line of the Sri Sampradaya. So we know we have the 4 bona fide Sampradayas, the 4 lines, and we start with Brahma Sampradaya, then Sampradaya coming from Lakshmi Ji, Sampradaya coming from Lord Shiva, and Sampradaya coming from the 4 Kumaras. So Ramacharya, he is coming in the line of the Sri Sampradaya. Right? Sri Sampradaya. So, so if you see the historical sequence of the events that happened, is first actually Buddha appeared. Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira. And the purpose of the appearance of Buddha was to actually, one way people were misusing the Vedas to actually support the animal killing and slaughter and all those things. So Buddha actually came and he preached more of the philosophy of the peacefulness, ahimsa. And that way he actually rejected the Vedas. You're talking of Vedas, but first focus on the moral principle of ahimsa. So one way he took away the Vedas, right? And then the next sequence was Shankaracharya. So we have those quotes from the Padma Purana where Lord Krishna is himself telling Lord Shiva that you please go in the role of Shankaracharya and you bring back the Vedas. But because the Vedas were just rejected by Buddha, so when Shankaracharya brought back the Vedas, he actually brought that, oh, in Buddhism you're talking of more of the void, but that void is actually the supreme. Right? So basically he brought in the point of the Brahman as the highest, and that way he preached this philosophy known as Advaitavad. Advaitavad means that the Brahman is the highest understanding, the undifferentiated Brahman is actually the highest understanding. Right? And then we have the four acharyas, 4 Vaishnava acharyas who came in line, and first among them was Ramanujacharya. And all these 4 acharyas bring back the philosophy of Vaishnavism, the highest understanding of our Shastras. Okay, so the first among them was Ramanujacharya. Okay. So we see in the life of Ramacharya, so before Ramacharya actually appeared, there were these 12 alvars. Right? So even now if you talk to people from South India, they talk about these alvars and how they had this so devotional songs that they had composed. So certainly Ramacharya was coming, after the alvars, and he was, he certainly was, like impressed by these devotional sentiments. But what Ramacharya did, he actually gave a philosophical basis for these devotional sentiments of the alvars. And also because his role was to defeat the Shankara Advaitavad, so he actually, that was actually one of his main missions, to actually defeat Shankaracharya's Advaitavad. And he did that by explaining a philosophy known as Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaitavad. So that means qualified oneness. Right? So, okay. So when Ramacharya was actually, presenting the philosophy, was defeating the philosophy of Shankaracharya, he actually rarely expressed devotional sentiments. he focused more on the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutra, and through these, because Advaitavas used these Upanishads to actually present the philosophy of oneness, Ramacharya used those same books and then he defeated them. So that's why we see Ramacharya as such does not quote so much from the Srimad Bhagavatam and use Srimad Bhagavatam as the essence. We focus directly on the Srimad Bhagavatam because we consider that as the natural commentary of the Vedanta Sutra. But Ramacharya actually, he explained, he defeated Shankaracharya's Advaitavad through the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras. And he actually himself wrote a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is known as the Sri Bhasya. Sri Bhasya. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit more about the philosophy, but I want to go into the life of Ramacharya. And also like the mood of the acharyas. I want to discuss more of this mood of these wonderful acharyas. So if you see the main pastime that's actually mentioned in the student life of Ramacharya. So he actually appeared around 1017 AD. 1017 AD. So just few years back, his 1000th appearance year was celebrated. And if you know in, which place was it? Somewhere in Andhra, I'm forgetting which place. In Kanchipuram, where they established that huge deity of Ramacharya. Anyone knows? I forget. But it's like a huge deity of Ramacharya. They actually just established on his 1000th appearance day. Right? 1000th appearance day. So he appeared in 1017. Right? And in his student life, the main pastime that is focused on, like, it is said that, yes, like we see in the life of other acharyas, when they appear, they're just so intelligent, immediately they can understand all the shastras. And one point in his life, when he was 16 years old, he moved to this place known as Kanchipuram. Right? Even now, if you can go to India, you can go to this holy place of Kanchipuram. And in Kanchipuram, there was this one teacher who was very famous, very recognized, said to be a very learned scholar, and his name was Yadava Prakash. And because Ramacharya, a 16-year-old boy, wanted to learn the Vedas, he actually went to Yadava Prakash. And Yadava Prakash was learned in the Vedas, but he was from the Advaitavad or the Mayavad school of philosophy. Right? So it's so interesting that you see like Ramacharya, who is such an elevated acharya, he is actually studying under a Mayavad teacher, right? A Mayavad teacher. But we'll see, I'll mention why this entire pastime we see. So Yadav Prakash used to explain the Vedas, teach his students, but he always used to focus on that impersonal. Oh, Brahma Jyoti is the highest, the form of the Lord is actually just Maya, it's just a temporary, it is a manifestation of Sattva Guna. So focus on all these points, right? So there are a few incidences as mentioned that when one student came to Yadav Prakash and he asked him to explain one particular line from the Vedas, which is actually Kapyasam Pundarikam Evam Akshini. Okay, so that was the line, and the student came to Yadav Prakash and said, "Can you explain this line? I don't understand this." And because Yadav Prakash was from the Mayavad school, he actually used this. And he gets such a derogatory explanation. He actually made the point that the lotus eyes of the Lord, the reddish color, is compared to like the bottom of a monkey. And when Ramacharya heard this, like he was actually at the time massaging the feet of his teacher, and when he heard this, like hot tears started flowing from his eyes. I mean, Yadav Prakash, felt those hot tears on his body. He was like, "Oh, why is, what's wrong with him?" So he asked him, like, why do you seem so annoyed? And he actually said that the explanation you have given is actually such an insult to the form of Lord Shri Krishna. Who would compare the lotus eyes, the reddish color of the lotus eyes of the Lord to a bottom of a monkey? It's like so insulting. So and then when one way Ramacharya challenged Yadav Prakash, he said, like, what is you have spoken is unacceptable. Then Yadav Prakash, because he was a teacher, he said like, so you know better than me? And then if you know, then you can explain. And then Ramacharya gives the same Sanskrit, he actually uses the same phrase, and he explains it in such a way that he actually says that Kapi actually means the sun. So something that rises with the rising of the sun, and that's nothing but a lotus flower. And he compares like the reddish color of the eyes of the Lord is actually compared to the petals of a lotus flower. So Yadav Prakash was impressed by his explanation. But still, he was from the Mayavad school, so he was saying like, why is this person, he's my student, he's contradicting me. And this was just one incident, but there have been other incidents that I've mentioned, like throughout, Yadav Prakash used to give the Mayavad understanding, and Ramacharya used to always like feel so like, he couldn't bear to hear that kind of understanding. Like, in our entire Shastras, we have like Bhagavatam, you see, so many beautiful verses glorifying the form of the Lord. And for a devotee to hear such Mayavad understanding, saying that this entire form of the Lord is actually just a manifestation of Sattva Guna, it is material, it is temporary, it is totally unbearable for a Vaishnava. And that's why you see in Srila Prabhupada's purports, again and again, Prabhupada uses every opportunity to actually smash this Mayavad philosophy. Anyone who has love for Krishna cannot hear such statements. That's why when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he made this point, Mayavada bhasya sunle hoilo sarvanash. Your entire spiritual life is destroyed just by hearing this Mayavad understanding. So, so anyway, so they were like, again and again, Yadav Prakash used to teach his students this Mayavad understanding, and Ramacharya used to actually, defeat all these points. So once the king of this Kanchipuram, his daughter was attacked by like a ghost, like she had a ghost enter into her body. So this person Yadavacharya, this teacher, he was known to like, okay, he teaches Shastras, but he also was known to have some magical powers. So the king actually called this Yadav Prakash. He said like, my daughter has been attacked by this ghost. The ghost is residing in the body of my daughter. Only you can come and save. So Yadav Prakash goes there, and everyone knows, oh, he's a learned teacher. He's so powerful. Maybe as soon as he comes, the ghost will leave, And he comes, and then he tells the ghost, oh, you should leave, And the ghost actually speaks through the mouth of the princess, the daughter. And he says like, your power is nothing compared to my power. So by your saying, I'm not going to leave. But if you actually call your student, the young Ramacharya, then I will leave. And as soon as the king heard that, and see, Yadavacharya is like a teacher, So one way to hear that he cannot do it, but his student, with whom he already had so many conflicts, he can do it. That already was like, very painful for him. Like, and when Ramacharya was called, and then as soon as Ramacharya came, and the ghost actually again spoke and said, yes, I will leave, but you have to put your feet on the head of this princess. And, to describe that, the glories of Ramacharya is so pure that even a ghost could actually appreciate receiving the blessings of such an elevated Vaishnava. And then Ramacharya actually put his feet on the head of the princess, and immediately the ghost left. And then, when this episode happened, everyone in the area came to know about the glories of Ramacharya. Let's see, his teacher could not do it, but he is so pure that as soon as he came, the ghost actually left. So one way we see like why, our acharyas, like even if you consider the life of Srila Prabhupada, they go through through certain periods of life which appear to us like, why would Krishna put them in certain situation? Right? Even like we read of Srila Prabhupada's life, all the challenges that he had in India before coming to the West. That even when he came to the West, when he went to New York, he was at the ashram of Dr. Mishra, who was again a Mayavadi. Right? And, he was there for a few days, and he used to try to speak, but Dr. Mishra used to always stop when he used to talk of the personal conception of God. So we see why Krishna arranges this. And in the life of Ramacharya, we see that through this entire episode, that his teacher being a Mayavad, he got the opportunity to defeat Mayavad and establish Vaishnavism. That's one thing. And second is, just by this episode, like he became so popular, like everyone knew he is more powerful than his teacher, Yadava Prakash. And then the story continues that once Yadav Prakash was, he was so angry with, like one way this conflict kept going on, and he was like, this Ramacharya is so strong a Vaishnava that if he actually opens his own school, then he's going to defeat impersonalism and then he's going to preach Vaishnavism. So he was thinking how to get rid of this student. And he was thinking the only way is if you actually make a plan to kill him. Imagine that level of envy that they said, okay, kill him. And he was saying, like, how can we do it? So they decided, okay, let's go on a trip to Ganga. And we'll tell Ramacharya also that you should come, it's a nice, holy trip. And while we are on the trip, we'll just kill him. And we'll just tell people that he just, went in the Ganga and then he just drowned. Make a reason like that. And they all went, Ramacharya also went. And so they're traveling from the south all the way to Ganges to take bath in the Ganga. Right? And they come to Vindhya Hills. And at that point, Yadav Prakash thinks that, okay, this is a good place. Maybe we can, kill Ramacharya at this point. And he had, his cousin was also with him, Ramacharya's cousin, Govinda. So Govinda heard the entire plot. And he already told Ramacharya, oh, they're planning to kill you. And when Ramacharya heard that, he immediately left. And he wanted to come back all the way to Kanchipuram. So it was already night time. So he went to a particular distance. And then it was so dark, then he decided, I should just wait here until next day morning. And then I should continue on my journey to Kanchipuram. And then when he was thinking that I should wait here in the night, it's described in the book that Ramacharya was thinking that, why should I be fearful of anything? Lord Krishna's protection is there for everyone. And he had that faith that, yes, Krishna will protect me. Why should I wait here? I should just continue my journey. And we see again and again in the life of these acharyas, they are just fearless in their life. Right? Even in Srila Prabhupada's life, how we see, like, who would actually sit on a cargo ship and come all the way to the west at the age of 70 years old? So he just continued walking. But then at a particular point, he was tired, and then he just, took rest under a tree. And then he woke up and he saw a hunter and a wife just right near him. And he asked the hunter and the wife, said, like, which is the way to Kanchipuram? And the hunter and the wife said, actually, even we are going there. You can come along with us. And Ramacharya was thinking, like, why would this hunter, a person of this forest, want to go all the way down south to Kanchipuram? But he said, okay, and then they started walking together. And then, again, night fell, and it was night time. This wife of the hunter said, I'm really thirsty. I need some water. And because it was already dark, the hunter said, okay, tomorrow morning, we'll give you water. In the morning, Ramacharya, he woke up and then he found like a water body, and then he brought water, and then he gave it to this wife of the hunter. And then still she was thirsty. So he went again and got the water, gave a second time, and then third time. And then he went the fourth time. And when he came back the fourth time, they just disappeared. And then at that moment he was thinking, who are these personalities? And just from within he realized that this is none other than Lakshmi and Narayan. Lakshmi and Narayan had personally appeared to him to actually give their protection and to actually, one way show that there's the reciprocation of the Lord. So we see, like, again, when acharyas, devotees go through these challenging times, one way it is an opportunity for the Lord to actually show their special protection on these devotees. And for us, when we hear such pastimes, just increases our faith how the Lord protects his devotees. And then, not only that they disappeared, but he just started looking around. And he realized that he's already in a town. And he asked, so which place I am? Where did I come? It's a long walk. But he just like asked, okay, he just appeared to be in the town, and he asked like, okay, which place I come? And the person said, you're here in Kanchipuram. You know? And I know you're a student of Yadav Prakash. Why are you asking silly questions? You're here at your home. And immediately Ramacharya realized who actually brought me all the way. They had just left from the Vindhya hills. And all the way, which was like days or months of walk, immediately, and overnight he was put in Kanchipuram. You know. And later on, there was one disciple of Yamunacharya. And we see often in the life of Ramacharya his interactions with Kanchipurna, this personality. He's a very elevated Vaishnava. He's born in a Shudra family, but very elevated Vaishnava. And Ramacharya used to, often go to him. And he said that this Kanchipurna, he could actually talk to the deity, Varadaraj. And the deity used to give instructions, direct instructions to him. So later this Kanchipurna actually, Ramacharya, when he actually returned, and he went to Kanchipurna, Kanchipurna actually told him that this is your service. Every day you actually go, fetch water and bring it to the deity of Varadaraj. So that became his service every day. Every day he was actually going to the water and getting water for Varadaraj. Right? Okay, so this is one of the main episodes that have been described from the student life of Ramacharya. Okay, so we'll move on to the next episode, which is so prior to Ramacharya, the main Vaishnava Acharya in the entire area was Yamunacharya, right? And Yamunacharya's Stotra Ratna, even if you see in Padyavali, there are certain quotes from Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya. So those are very popular. Yamunacharya had written the Stotra Ratna, and so Yamunacharya was actually, he had seen Ramacharya previously in Kanchipurna, but he was thinking that Ramacharya is such an elevated Vaishnava, but why is he studying under a Mayavad? And he was praying to Varadaraj that, oh Varadaraj, you please do something so that he can actually escape from this Mayavad teacher, and he actually can, preach Vaishnavism. So he had already seen Ramacharya, and he knew that Ramacharya is the next one to actually continue this Vaishnava philosophy. Right? So it's described that Yamunacharya, when he was getting old and he knew that, okay, it was time for me to leave, he actually sent one of his main disciples, Mahapurna, and later on Ramacharya actually takes initiation from this Mahapurna. He sends Mahapurna and he said like, you should go to Kanchipurna. So they were in Srirangam. Go to Kanchipurna and you bring Ramacharya, because I'm going to leave. So before I leave, I want to see him. And Mahapurna actually goes, and it's like almost like a journey of 4 days is described. So he traveled for 4 days, and then finally he reaches Kanchipurna, and there he meets Ramacharya. And he tells Ramacharya that, Yamunacharya, actually what he does is he reaches Kanchipurna and he starts quoting all these Stotra Ratna. He starts singing these beautiful verses from Stotra Ratna. And when Ramacharya hears this, he's immediately attracted to the devotional sentiments, the devotional mood in the Stotra Ratna. And then he asked Mahapurna, then who has actually compiled these? And Mahapurna says, oh, this is my spiritual master, Yamunacharya. And it is he who has actually sent me here to call you to Srirangam. And when Ramacharya heard this, he was thinking, oh, such an elevated Vaishnava, and he has sent someone to call me? That is my greatest fortune. And immediately he actually left. And he actually described that he said like, okay, I'll come right away. I don't need to tell my family, but I need to do one thing. I need to still take water for the deity of Varadaraj. Right? So how a devotee never leaves his service. So he went, he took the water, gave it to Varadaraj, and then he started walking with Mahapurna. But as soon as they were, again 4 days they had to walk. So they walked back to Srirangam. But when they reached Srirangam, they heard the Yamunacharya had already left. Yeah. But and then they were devastated, and Ramacharya was thinking that I had this opportunity to see such an elevated Vaishnava, but I just missed seeing him, having his wonderful association. So he was heartbroken. But when they actually went to the Vapu of Yamunacharya, then they saw, Ramacharya noticed that 3 of his fingers were actually closed. It was like clenched, 3 of the fingers. And Ramacharya asked, were his fingers always like this? And they said, no, we have never seen like him, like 3 of his fingers like clenched like this, like closed. And then Ramacharya, it seemed like everyone seemed that he had that, even though Yamunacharya had left, Ramacharya could intimately have that association. And then he said like, oh, these 3 fingers. And then he said, I'm going to take 3 vows right now. And the first vow is I'm going to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is a Sri Bhasya, which is going to establish Vaishnavism as the highest conclusion. And as soon as he said that, one of the fingers opened. And then he said, and second vow I take is I'm going to preach this Vaishnavism all around and then destroy the illusion of this Mayavad, impersonalism. And as soon as he said that, the second finger opened. And the third vow, he actually said that one of the disciples will be named with the name of Parashara to actually glorify Parashara Muni. And as soon as he said that, the third finger actually opened. So everyone there was amazed at how Ramacharya, Yamunacharya had closed those 3 fingers just for Ramacharya, and how by those 3 vows the 3 fingers are actually open. So, and then I was thinking of these 3 points, write commentary on Vedanta Sutra, preach the message of Krishna consciousness, right? And third was about Parasara Muni. But if you see the first 2 instructions, and if you see the life and teachings of Ramacharya, you will see even if you compare to our philosophy, like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they received similar instructions from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuna. That, study all the Shastras and write books, write commentaries on these books, right? Preach the message of Krishna consciousness. So this is basically the instructions of our line, right? And we see so much similarity in the philosophy and the mood and the life of Ramacharya with our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Okay, so I'm going to talk of maybe, there's so much more to say, but one particular pastime which is actually very much that we can connect to is later on in the life, Ramacharya actually he took initiation from Mahapurna, the disciple of Yamunacharya. And Mahapurna actually once told him that you should go to this person known as Goshti Purna and receive the mantra from him. He said there is no Vaishnava like Goshti Purna. Go to him and receive the mantra from him. And then Ramacharya goes to Goshti Purna and he requests him that you please give me the mantra, right? Give me the mantra. And Goshti Purna's, his main point was, this mantra is very sacred, very pure. And only those who are free from material desires should actually receive this mantra. So I cannot give this mantra to anyone. And then Ramacharya was insistent. He had the order from his guru to actually receive the mantra from Goshti Purna. So he went 18 times, he said, back to Goshti Purna and requested him, please give me the mantra. And every time Goshti Purna refused. He said, no, it's very sacred. Imagine this Maha Mantra, by mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we go out on the streets and give the Maha Mantra to even the most, meat eaters and everyone. Let everyone hear the holy name. But see, at that time the mood was very sacred mantra. No one should get it. Unless a person is qualified, you cannot receive the mantra. Right? And through this pastime, you can appreciate the mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mercy. Right? So, after the 18 times, once actually Goshti Purna went to take darshan of Varadaraj, and then the priest from Varadaraj actually started speaking to Goshti Purna. And Goshti Purna heard the priest speaking. He understood that this is the Lord speaking through the priest. And the priest was basically saying that you should give this mantra to Ramacharya. There is no one as pure as this personality of Ramacharya. You are hesitating because you are thinking that this mantra is so powerful, it should be given to only those who are qualified. But Ramacharya is certainly qualified to receive the mantra. And when he heard that, then he understood that the Lord is instructing me to give the mantra. So next time when Ramacharya came to Goshti Purna to ask the mantra, then Goshti Purna gave him the mantra, but also told him, this mantra is very sacred, very pure. Do not give to anyone who is not qualified, who has material desires. Otherwise, they will not be able to appreciate. They will maybe use the mantra for satisfying their material desires, and that's not right. You're using Krishna to fulfill your own material desires. So he said, don't give it to anyone. Right? And the mantra was Om Namo Narayanaya. So that's their mantra of the Shri line, right? Om Namo Narayanaya. So as soon as Ramacharya received the mantra, and Goshti Purna told him, anyone who receives this mantra, he will actually get liberation and go back to Vaikuntha. But don't give this mantra to anyone. It's very powerful, very pure, very sacred. Right? Don't give this. And immediately we know what Ramacharya did. He went right in the center of the town and he called everyone, please come, please come. And actually went to like a high platform where all the people he could call. And all the people from different classes, they all came. And he told them, I have a very special, precious jewel to give all of you. And he said, like, when you receive this precious jewel, all your miseries will be finished. So so many people got attracted. And there's a big crowd. And then Ramacharya said, the jewel is this mantra. Like he just received the instruction, don't give this mantra to anyone. And here on the rooftop, he's actually giving this mantra to everyone. Right? And we see the mood of compassion of Vaishnava. Right? And he gave the mantra to everyone and said that everyone, he said 3 times and he asked everyone to chant the mantra. And just by Ramacharya saying and asking people to chant the mantra, even those who had material desires, all their material desires were finished. And they became pure and they actually received that highest gift just by receiving the mantra from Ramacharya. But after giving this, he actually went back to Goshti Purna. And Goshti Purna had already heard that what Ramacharya had done. Right? And then he was so angry with Ramacharya. So as soon as Ramacharya came, he was saying that, I just told you not to give this mantra to anyone. And you have disobeyed my order. Why are you even showing your face to me? You are destined to go to hell for so many lifetimes for disobeying this order and giving this mantra to everyone. And then Ramacharya in that mood, he actually said, yes, I know, I have disobeyed your order and I'll probably go to hell for so many lifetimes. But if for one insignificant person like me, so many others can get liberated and go to Vaikuntha, then that is the real success. I am so insignificant. I am prepared to go to hell for the liberation of so many other people. And see the mood of a Vaishnava. Prepared to go to hell so that everyone else can actually receive this most precious gift. Right? And then when Goshti Purna heard that level of compassion of Ramacharya, he just melted. He said, like, this is the level of compassion of a Vaishnava. That he himself is prepared to go to hell to actually give liberation to everyone. And then Goshti Purna says, Ramacharya, actually, you are my guru and I am your disciple. Because you have shown the true level of compassion. And this one story is so instructive to us. Like the glories of the holy name, the glories of compassion. How Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually came and he actually said, give the highest gift to the most unqualified. And the holy name is Krishna himself. And Krishna himself is being given to everyone who is unqualified. That's the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. So, and there's more stories, but we are out of time. I wanted to end with one point about the philosophy of Vaishnava, of Vishishtha Advaita. That main point that Shankaracharya said, that yes, you are talking of oneness, but he actually said that oneness, he expressed it as qualified oneness. What does that mean? That the oneness itself is qualified by variety. So within that oneness, there are actually three aspects. What is that? The living entity, this material nature, and the Lord himself. Right? And he said like all three are one, in the sense everything is Krishna and Krishna's energy. So Krishna and Krishna's energy, just like from fire, you cannot take out heat and light. They are one in one way. So similarly, Krishna and Krishna's energy cannot be separated. They are all one. So he made that point of oneness through presenting variety in oneness. Right? And he made the point that, okay, you have the living entities, you have the material nature, and you have Ishvara. Of these three, the living entities and material nature, they are energies. But the Ishvara is the energetic. Right? And the energies can actually go through transformation. So he explained the entire philosophy of transformation. Right? But the Ishvara is changeless. So, right. And then he actually explained about the Jiva, how Jiva actually means that the consciousness of Jiva is spread all through the body, there's a free will. And he actually, through this philosophy, defeated the points that Shankaracharya was saying. And and he established that, how can one know about the existence of the God? And he actually said, the only way one can actually understand the existence of Ishvara, understand Ishvara, is through scriptures. So he brought out the importance of scriptures and said, only through these scriptures can the absolute actually be understood. Okay, then establishing the point about bhakti, right? By getting the knowledge from the scriptures, when one actually develops a mood of bhakti, then the Lord reveals himself. So all these points is like exactly in line with our philosophy. Right? But the only one thing is, when he talked so much on the qualified oneness, the relationship between the Jiva and the Lord was not very clear. And that's why we see that from Vishishta Dvaita to Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva is like what was a little bit of a drawback of Vishishta Dvaita was actually completed in Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So it's similar but further elaborated to make everything perfect. So that's why we say Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one way he actually brought all the four sampradayas together by actually presenting this Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. So stop here. Shri Ramacharya ki jai. Any comments, realizations? Why didn't they not chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Actually, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is very special. Like how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us the highest, like Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. And from the Sri Sampradaya, their highest perfection is Vaikuntha. Like that access to Goloka Vrindavan was open only by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so special. So their worship is more in the mood of awe and reverence. And hence they focus on Om Namo Narayanaya. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Shri Ramacharya ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Andar ako di kamania Vishesha Shobha
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Tarani Mandala Mahite Mandala Mahite Gopula Tarani Mandala Mahite Gopula Tarani Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Harini Shkuta Brinda Vipineshe Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Harini Shkuta Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Harini Shruta Brinda Vipineshe Namodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Harini Shruta Brinda Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Jaya Jaya Rishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Rishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Rishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Rishabhanu Dadi Navashashi Leke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate 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 Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karuna Kurumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Varite Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karuna Kurumai Karuna Bharate Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Radhe Jaya